Blue and red lights washed across the rain-soaked highway like bleeding color. A sedan sat crooked against the guardrail, engine still ticking, driver's door open. No skid marks. No shattered glass. Just an empty car and a phone lying in a puddle, screen glowing through cracked water droplets. Detective Mark Ellison stepped under the police tape and crouched. The phone was still connected to a call. He lifted it carefully with a gloved hand. A voice whispered through the speaker. "He's not supposed to be there yet." Ellison's eyes hardened. "This is Detective Ellison. Who is this?" The line went dead. 20 hours earlier. Evan Mercer almost didn't answer. He was in his apartment kitchen in Columbus, halfway through reheated leftovers, tie loosened, TV murmuring background noise. His phone buzzed with an unknown number. No caller ID, just digits he didn't recognize. He almost let it ring out. Spam had become a daily ritual. He answered out of boredom more than curiosity. "Hello." A woman's voice, tight and urgent. "Listen carefully. They know where you live. Do not go home tonight." Evan frowned. "You've got the wrong number." A pause. Papers shuffling. A breath. "Is this Daniel Reeves?" "No. You dialed wrong." Another pause, longer this time. Then quieter. "Then you just got very lucky." Click. Evan stared at the screen and laughed under his breath. A prank call, maybe. Or someone drunk. He blocked the number and went back to eating. At 9:12 p.m., his apartment building fire alarm triggered. Residents flooded into the parking lot under flashing strobes and shrieking sirens. Fire crews rushed inside. Smoke poured from the third floor, Evan's floor. His unit. He watched from the curb in borrowed sandals and a hoodie, heart pounding, as firefighters smashed his balcony door and disappeared inside. The fire was contained in minutes. Small. Controlled. Too controlled. An investigator emerged and asked, "You live alone?" "Yes." "Anyone else have access?" "No." "Then someone tried to burn your couch with an accelerant and failed." The word landed like a brick. Tried. Evan felt the memory snap back into place. The call. The warning. "Do not go home tonight." He hadn't listened. He'd just been late. Detective Ellison arrived shortly after. Calm, observant, the kind of man who seemed to speak only after deciding exactly how much truth a moment deserved. "Walk me through your night," Ellison said. Evan mentioned the call, almost as an afterthought. Wrong number. Weird woman. Urgent tone. Ellison didn't treat it like a joke. "Repeat exactly what she said." Evan did. Ellison wrote it twice. "Did you keep the number?" "I blocked it." "Unblock it." They stepped aside. Evan scrolled, unblocked, and showed him. Ellison photographed the screen. "You may have been warned about your own attempted arson by accident." "That sentence doesn't make sense," Evan said. "It will." By midnight, they confirmed something unsettling. The number that called Evan belonged to a prepaid phone purchased with cash 2 days earlier. No ID. No trail. But cell tower pings placed it within a mile of his apartment when the call was made. Not random. Not overseas spam. Local. Someone nearby had tried to warn the wrong man. Ellison dug deeper into the name the caller asked for, Daniel Reeves. There was one in the city. Same age range. Lived alone. 3rd floor apartment. 3 buildings away from Evans. At 2:03 a.m., officers knocked down Daniel Reeves' door. The smell hit first, metallic and thick. Reeves lay in the living room, dead for at least a day. No fire damage. No forced entry. One precise wound. Execution clean. Which meant the warning call was never meant for Evan. It was meant for a dead man. By morning, the case shifted from attempted arson to something far worse, a misfired cleanup operation. Someone believed Daniel Reeves was still alive, and tried to burn his apartment to erase whatever remained. Only they targeted the wrong unit. Evan sat across from Ellison at the station, paper cup shaking in his hands. "You're saying I almost died because someone can't dial correctly?" "I'm saying," Ellison replied, "you're alive because someone tried to." Phone records gave them their next thread. Daniel Reeves had received multiple calls from another prepaid number in the week before his death. That second number pinged near an industrial storage district outside the city. Officers canvassed the lockers. Unit 314 smelled like bleach and cold metal. Inside, plastic sheeting, gloves, a burner phone box, and a printed photograph taped to the wall. Evan Mercer. Taken outside his apartment building. Time-stamped 3 days earlier. Evan stared at it later in the evidence room, blood draining from his face. "I've never seen this. I don't know these people." Ellison believed him, but belief wasn't protection. "From this moment on," the detective said, "you don't go anywhere alone." "Why me?" "That," Ellison said quietly, "is the question that gets people killed when they answer it wrong." Forensics pulled partial prints from the storage unit, enough to match a known associate of Reeves, a former co-worker named Lucas Hale, fired months earlier after a fraud investigation at their logistics firm. Hale was missing. His apartment was empty. His bank account drained. His car found at the airport parking garage, but no flight record under his name. The wrong number warning. The staged fire. The execution-style murder. Surveillance photos of the wrong target. It wasn't random. It was a broken plan still in motion. At 6:40 p.m., while officers set up a watch outside Evan's temporary hotel, his phone rang again. Unknown number. Ellison nodded once. "Answer it." "Speaker on." Evan did. "Hello." The same woman's voice, strained, whispering, breathless. "You weren't supposed to survive the correction." Ellison leaned closer. "Who is this?" "You found the storage unit," she said. "Not a question." "Yes," Ellison replied calmly. "And you're going to tell me where Hale is." A shaky inhale. Then, "You're looking for the wrong man." "Then give me the right one." "He's already closer than you think," she said. "Who?" The line crackled. "He's with." The call cut. 2 seconds later, the power inside the hotel block went out. Emergency lights flickered on. Outside, an officer shouted. Ellison turned toward the window, just as a figure in a maintenance jacket slipped past the darkened lobby cameras and reached the stairwell door leading up. And in his hand was a red gas can. The emergency lights painted the hallway in a dim, pulsing red. Shadows stretched long and broken across the hotel walls as alarms chirped from disabled systems trying to reboot. Somewhere below, a woman screamed. A door slammed. Running footsteps echoed in stairwells. Detective Ellison already had his weapon drawn. "Stay behind me," he told Evan quietly. The stairwell door banged open 3 floors down, metal on metal, followed by the hollow slosh of liquid hitting concrete steps. The sharp chemical smell rose almost instantly. "Gasoline." "Move," Ellison snapped into his shoulder radio. "Suspect inside. Accelerant confirmed. Cut exterior exits and bring fire response now." They advanced down instead of up, toward the threat, steps slow, controlled. Ellison didn't rush. Men who carried gas cans into buildings wanted panic. He gave them precision. Halfway down, they heard humming. Not footsteps. Not panic. Humming. A tuneless, casual melody drifting upward like someone working alone in a garage. Ellison signaled stop and leaned just enough to see through the railing gap. The man in the maintenance jacket was kneeling on the landing, calmly pouring a trail from the can along the wall trim. Methodical. Unhurried. A backpack sat beside him. "Sir," Ellison called out, voice steady, amplified by the concrete shaft. "Put the can down." The humming stopped. The man looked up slowly, eyes flat, unsurprised. "You're early," he said. "Step away." "You weren't supposed to connect the storage unit this fast," the man replied, almost conversational. "That was sloppy of her." "Lucas Hale," Ellison said. The man smiled faintly. "That's the wrong name again." He kicked the gas can down the stairs. It clanged, spilling. In the same motion, he pulled a lighter from his pocket and flicked it once, flame blooming gold. Ellison fired. The shot shattered the lighter in his hand. Flame died. The man bolted upward instead of down, straight toward them. "Back." Ellison shoved Evan upward as the suspect charged. The stairwell erupted in thunder, Boots, shouts, another shot. The suspect slammed through the exit door into the upper hall and vanished into the red-lit maze of corridors. Sprinklers triggered seconds later as officers below flooded the stairwell to neutralize the fuel trail. But the man was gone. Security review revealed the truth within minutes. The maintenance uniform was fake. The badge number belonged to a real contractor, currently on vacation in Arizona. The suspect had entered during shift change using a copied logo and confidence. Confidence beat locks every day. Inside the abandoned backpack they found gloves, 2 more prepaid phones, a folded city map, and a printed floor plan of Evan's burned apartment building. 3 units circled in red. Daniel Reeves' apartment, Evan's apartment, and a 3rd unit belonging to someone named Carla Mendez. "Who's that?" Evan asked. Ellison didn't answer immediately. He was reading a separate sheet pulled from the bag, a payroll roster from the logistics firm where Reeves and Hale once worked. Carla Mendez, internal auditor. The same auditor who had filed the fraud complaint that got Hale fired. "Witness," Ellison said at last. "Or target." They found her house at dusk, front door open, dinner burned black in a pan, phone on the table still connected to a police non-emergency line that had never been answered due to call volume overflow. No Carla. No signs of struggle. But in the sink, written in condensation on the window above it, one word traced by a finger. "Sorry." Evan felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Is that from her?" Ellison studied the stroke pattern. "No. Too deliberate. Too clean. That's for us." They pulled traffic cams within a 2-mile radius. Carla's car appeared leaving her street at 5:12 p.m., driven by someone else. Zoom enhancement caught the driver's face just long enough. "Not Hale. A woman." "Wrong number caller," Evan whispered. Ellison nodded once. "And she just graduated from warning you to kidnapping a witness." The investigation pivoted hard. Hale was no longer primary. He was partner. The woman was operational. Phone forensics cracked one of the prepaid devices from the stairwell bag. A draft text message sat unsent. Correction failed. New site ready. Bring the witness. Embedded metadata, hidden but recoverable, contained GPS residue from where the message had been typed. An old roadside motel scheduled for demolition outside city limits. By the time the task force assembled, night had turned heavy and windless. The motel stood like a rotten jawbone against the highway, half the windows boarded, neon sign dead, parking lot empty except for one sedan backed against the far wall. Ellison briefed fast. No lights. No sirens. Witness likely inside. 2 suspects minimum. Assume accelerants again. They moved. Room doors were already open, gutted interiors, mold, debris. But halfway down the row, a faint light glowed under one door, and humming leaked through the crack. Same tuneless melody. Ellison's jaw tightened. They breached. The room was staged like a temporary office, folding table, battery lantern, documents spread in neat rows. Carla Mendez sat tied to a chair, gagged but alive, eyes wide with tears and fury. The woman from the call stood beside her, calm, composed, late 30s, hair tied back, burner phone in hand. She didn't reach for a weapon. She smiled. "You're ahead of schedule again." "Hands where I can see them," Ellison ordered. She raised them slowly. Cooperative. Almost relieved. "Where's Hale?" Ellison asked. "Busy," she said. "He's the emotional one. I'm the organized one. Why the wrong number warning?" She glanced at Evan behind the shield line. "Because I misread one digit, and conscience beat protocol for about 10 seconds. "Protocol for what?" "Cleaning the ledger." Ellison stepped closer. "Explain." Her eyes flicked to the documents on the table. "Shell companies. Routing numbers. Shipment codes. Your dead accountant," she said, nodding at Carla, "and your dead Daniel Reeves discovered that their employer wasn't losing money, it was moving it." "Moving it where?" Evan asked. She smiled at him, almost kindly. "Through you." He froze. "I don't even know these people." "You process their overflow contracts," she said. "Third-party vendor approvals. Your digital signature sits on 12 transfers you never read." Ellison turned slightly. Is that true? Evan's voice shook. I approve hundreds a week. It's automated. Exactly, she said softly. Perfect ghost path. Sirens grew faintly in the distance, outer perimeter arriving. You're under arrest, Ellison told her. Yes, she agreed. I am. No resistance. No bargaining. Too easy. Where is Hale? Ellison demanded again. Her expression shifted, first genuine emotion they'd seen. Amusement. He doesn't know I'm caught yet, she said. Which means he'll follow the contingency. What contingency? She nodded toward the table lantern. Ellison saw it then, the blinking red diode taped underneath. Not a lantern. A trigger. Outside, engines roared to life. Not police. Multiple vehicles igniting at once. Through the broken blinds they saw it. 3 fuel trucks parked behind the motel. All wired. And all counting down. The duplicate house sat in total darkness. No porch light. No street noise. Just a narrow suburban lane lined with sleeping homes and bare winter trees scratching at the sky. The property looked normal, intentionally normal, the kind of place no one would remember passing. Ellison held up a closed fist. The entry team froze behind him. Power draw, he whispered into his mic. Active, Tech replied. Interior load steady. Someone's inside. Evan stood behind the armored shield unit, pulse hammering in his ears. I never bought this place. I know, Ellison said quietly. But someone wanted it to look like you did. They breached fast, silent hydraulic spreader, lock peeled without a kick. The door opened into a staged life. Furniture. Family photos. Mail on the table addressed to Evan Mercer. Utility bills paid. Groceries fresh in the fridge. A manufactured identity nest. Ghost residence, Ellison said. Built to anchor financial routing. A soft mechanical hum came from the basement. They moved down. Lights were already on. Not a dungeon. Not a torture room. An office. Server racks blinked green and blue along 2 walls. Portable drives labeled with shipping codes. A laser printer still warm. On the center table, a laptop open to an encrypted ledger interface. And sitting calmly in the chair, hands folded, was Lucas Hale. No weapon visible. No panic. Just a man who expected them. You're late, Hale said. Ellison didn't lower his weapon. Stand up. Hale smiled faintly. Detective, if I stand up, 3 continents lose $10 million in the next 60 seconds. Let me sit. Step away from the keyboard. You already stopped the burn teams. You already caught my partner. This is the part where smart men talk. Evan stared. You tried to kill me. Hale looked at him with mild curiosity. I tried to erase a signature. There's a difference. Ellison signaled cyber to isolate the network. Portable jammer units powered on, signal caging the room. Connection severed, Tech confirmed. Hale exhaled. Pity. That would have been educational. Start explaining, Ellison said. Hale nodded at the server racks. Your logistics firm doesn't move packages. It moves margin. Microschemes buried inside bulk freight rounding. Fractions of cents across millions of transactions. Invisible, unless someone reconciles at audit depth. Daniel Reeves, Ellison said. Yes. Very sad. Very curious man. And Carla. Too honest for her own safety. Evan shook his head. Why frame me? Because your approval token sat at the perfect altitude, Hale said. High enough to authorize. Low enough not to review. We cloned your credentials months ago through a vendor portal breach. You were our ghost signer. Then why try to burn my apartment? Evan demanded. Because Daniel didn't trust the cloud, Hale replied. He split the decryption key. Half offline. Half embedded. Embedded where? Ellison asked. Hale finally smiled wider. That's the clever part. He hid his half inside something no investigator would ever seize as evidence. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked. Every weapon snapped upward. A voice drifted down the stairwell, The woman's voice from the calls. "You always monologue too long, Lucas." She appeared at the top step, soot-smudged, breathing hard, but very much free. No cuffs. No escort. She held a compact pistol steady. Officers pivoted, but she already had angle advantage. "Drop it," Ellison ordered. "Not yet," she said calmly. "Because you still don't understand the key." "Hale's in custody," Ellison said. "This is over." She laughed softly. "You think he's the architect?" Hale didn't look surprised. He looked amused. "Tell them," she said. Hale nodded toward Evan. "Ask him about the wrong number." Ellison frowned. "What about it?" She answered. "It wasn't a mistake." Silence tightened the room. "I called him on purpose," she said. "Not to warn him, to activate him." Evan stared. "I don't even know you." "No," she said gently. "But Daniel knew you." She reached into her jacket with her free hand and tossed something down the stairs. A small object clattered across the concrete floor and spun to a stop near Ellison's boot. A cheap metal USB drive. "Daniel's offline half," she said. "He mailed it 3 weeks ago to a fallback custodian under Safe Stranger protocol." Ellison didn't pick it up yet. "Why, Evan?" "Because he once returned a mis-routed corporate deposit instead of keeping it," she said. "Daniel flagged the ethics report. Said, if I disappear, give it to the guy who sends money back." Evan's voice broke. "I thought that was accounting cleanup." "It was character testing," Hale said. Ellison looked between them. "Then why the murder? Why the fire?" Hale answered plainly. "Because once Daniel split the key, the theft stopped being theft. It became leverage. Everyone wanted it, including your firm's executive layer." "Names?" Ellison demanded. Hale nodded toward the laptop. "All there." The woman on the stairs shook her head slightly. "Not anymore." She pressed a button on a small remote in her palm. Upstairs, a muffled pop. Then another. Thermite charges. Server rack tops began to glow white-hot, melting downward like burning sugar. Drives hissed and warped. Cybertech shouted, "Data loss." Ellison moved, but Hale moved faster, kicking the table, toppling a rack into the others, accelerating the burn chain. Gunfire erupted, 2 shots from officers. Hale dropped, shoulder hit, alive but down. The woman didn't fire. She stepped back instead. "Why destroy your own evidence?" Ellison shouted. "Because the ledger is copied," she said. "Twice." "Where?" She met Evan's eyes. "In the call." He blinked. "What?" "The wrong number call," she said softly. "It wasn't just voice. It was packet injection. Your phone recorded the encrypted stream as corrupted audio buffer." Understanding hit Ellison first. The warning message was the data transfer. Evan whispered, "Saved as voicemail." She smiled. "Now you're caught up." Sirens swelled outside, full perimeter, too late to matter. "Drop the weapon," Ellison ordered again. She considered it, then did. Metal hit concrete. Officers moved in, securing her, securing Hale, fire suppression foam flooding the racks before total melt. As they led her past, she paused beside Evan. "You answered," she said quietly. "Most people don't." "People died," he replied. "Yes," she said. "But not you." Months later, indictments rolled across multiple countries. Executives fell. Accounts froze. The ledger, recovered from Evan's corrupted voicemail file, held. Hale lived and testified. The woman took a plea and disappeared into sealed custody. Detective Ellison closed the case file with one handwritten note on the inside cover. Trigger event: answered wrong number call. Outcome: primary witness survived. Evan kept the cheap metal USB drive in a drawer at home, never plugged in, never opened, a reminder that survival sometimes sounds exactly like a mistake. They thought the operation failed because of a dialing error. It didn't. It failed because one man picked up. If you think this case was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Subscribe so you don't miss it.